Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Fisher. I am hosting on behalf of the Wellness District. I'm a clinical psychologist and part of this wonderful community of health, wellness, and fitness professionals in the Delray Business Association. Every week or every other week, I bring to you some of our local business owners, and we discuss topics of relevance for your well-being. And tonight I'm very excited to have one of the newer retailers to our business association, Shells Karle of the Your CBD store of Alexandria. Before we introduce her and her organization and find out all about CBD oil, I want to provide you a few updates from the wellness community. First, I'd like to tell you about the 12 Days of Wellness, which is starting on December 8th and moving through the 19th. This is a event that is provided by our community here in Delray and Greater Alexandria. And each day we're going to be releasing a video from our business owners, which is going to provide a much needed tip for the season. So some information and wisdom to impart, especially during this time where there's a lot of anxiety and other stressors that are among us. We'll also be sharing some of the promos and giveaways and other things that we are featuring this season. Also, I ask for those of you who are in a position to do so, please consider supporting our wellness businesses as they've been working really hard to help our community through this difficult time. So please, if you can, support them where you feel appropriate. And with that said, I'm going to give you a little teaser of something that's available from our wellness community. Three of the businesses have collaborated together to combine a package for a resilience package. So I'm going to let the video roll. Susan, if you don't mind.
Hi, a great gift for this holiday season is the Resilience gift set available on trulylife.com. It includes 3 bar soaps from Truly Life. Soap has been preventing the spread of disease for thousands of years and continues to do so today. It also includes a handmade cotton mask from Flora Living and Design. These masks are going to be just as important after the pandemic for your first aid kit to deal with events such as fire or extreme flooding where you have to enter a building with mildew or mold, and also just during seasonal allergies. The gift set also includes a 30-minute consultation with 4 Directions Wellness. This is an organization that can help people deal with their anxiety and stress that they've experienced this year. We hope that you'll support these 3 small businesses that have teamed up to give a meaningful gift during this holiday season. Thank you.
All right, now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Shells Karle, the owner of Your CBD store in Alexandria.
Hi, it's nice to see you all tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's been a long day, as you probably know. Thank you for joining us on the show tonight. I am really pleased that you're able to join us. I think there are a lot of people out there who have questions about CBD, including myself. Yeah. So, for those of you who are tuning in, probably most of you have heard the word, if not at least looked into it a little bit, and maybe not. But CBD has really been popping up a lot in mainstream over the last 2 years. And I believe by my research, it's one of the fastest growing industries. I believe they said something projected about $16 billion worth industry by 2025. Mm-hmm. But it's also pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of product and a lot of information. So I would love to hear all about it from your perspective today. So can you just tell us a little bit about your business, and then let's dig into the CBD?
Yes, absolutely. So hi, again, it's nice to see everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. So again, my name is Shells, and I am the owner of Your CBD store, Alexandria. I also have 2 locations out of state as well. And we carry a CBD brand, SunMed. It's an all-natural USDA certified organic CBD products, several different types of delivery methods. And we are really here to add support to our communities. The CBD world can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of great product on the market as well as a lot of poor product on the market. So we like to give people an opportunity to be able to talk to someone who's been educated about how CBD works, how it works in our bodies, and help them make the best educated decision they can for themselves, along with their doctors.
Awesome. So let's just say I was a first-time customer. I walked in, this is a whole new world, and I'm like, what is CBD?
Yeah.
Tell me how you explain it to people.
Absolutely. So first of all, CBD stands for cannabinoid. So it is industrial hemp, and it is one of the main cannabinoids that's found naturally in the plant. There are other cannabinoids that are also found in there that you will find in a broad and full spectrum product: CBD, CBG, CBN, CBDV, along with the trace amounts of THC. Naturally, it is going to come with that very, very low trace amounts of THC. That's not in all products, but in some. And there is a valid reason for it to be there. It's nothing to be scared of. However, you do have the option of not having it in your product. So when a first-time person comes in, we usually like to listen to why they've decided to come in. Was it on their own accord, or did a doctor or a healthcare provider maybe suggest for this as an option for them to explore? And then we go over the types of delivery methods to use CBD, because it all works slightly differently in our bodies. So that's really where we start narrowing it down on what would be the best way for someone to start doing a CBD regimen.
Awesome. So what would you say in your experience, what do you find that people, or why are they seeking out CBD oil from you? What are the things they're reporting to you?
Mm-hmm. So most of our customers that come in our locations, they have some type of pain issues that they're dealing with. It could be on the minor to a more severe scale. As well as sleeping issues, anxiety and depression. And then you also have like the seizures. Now, I am not a medical doctor, so I never want to make someone feel like I'm giving them medical advice. We always want to work in conjunction with their healthcare providers. But that's typically why people come in. Now, they may have tried other options in the past that worked for them or didn't work for them, or they're looking for a more natural route, which is often one of the main reasons people are just like, I'm on many different things and I really want to try something a little bit more natural that works better with my system. And that's kind of how they find their way to us.
Yeah. And, as a psychologist, especially in this area, we see a lot of people who are looking for alternative methods of healing and are hesitant for medications for different reasons, or, as you said, have been on different things and are just looking for other things to facilitate or complement their process. And I like that you highlighted, it being part of a process, and that checking with the doctor and making sure that it's right for that person, because there can be some interactions with medications and other things potentially, right? So,
yes. So if you don't mind, let's touch on that for just a minute. So typically through research that we've found, there's very low interactions, but there are some. Those are not life-threatening interactions, but again, your healthcare provider knows your medical history. So that's why we always encourage people that this is something to let your doctor know about. We can be a part of the process. We can kind of be a teammate in this. But overall, it's usually pretty safe for people to take. But again, your doctor knows your medical history.
Sure. And I think, anecdotally, our clients who have taken and have reported positive feedback. And that, to me, is exciting. Of course, I can't enforce or, deny without knowing.
Right.
information, which is why I'm really glad for you to be here, because one of the things when we were talking earlier is you were helping me to understand like the ongoing research that's happening. So can you talk to me a little bit about that and tie that into why in particular that you were drawn to this brand of CBD?
Yes, absolutely. So this is this type of product has been around forever. I mean, but because of different legislations, it hasn't really been able to be studied within the last several decades. And now with the 2014 Farm Bill and the 2018 Farm Bill, those types of things are being made more available, and the research is developing, which is really exciting for us as a community. Now, there are different. What you do want to have is a safe quality product, just like anything else that you'd be putting in your system. You want to look for something to know how it's grown, what type of processes they're taking, how they're extracting it. And all of that can be very confusing, especially when you're looking at all these words you might have never heard of before: endocannabinoid system and extraction processes, CO2 cold extract, all of this stuff can be really overwhelming. So it's important to be able to talk to someone who can give you honest feedback on that. And the reason we have SunMed is because we know the quality that goes into it. A lot of CBD companies out there, it's called white labeling. So they'll take products from anywhere and just slap a label on it, and you don't really know what has gone in there. So where we have our own fields, we know how we grow, we know how we harvest, we know how we extract, the process that goes in that. And then we've also gone through the steps to become USDA certified organic. So our customer base can feel very comfortable in it. The other thing is, you often hear people talk about, well, it has to have a lab report. It absolutely has to have a lab report. But knowing and understanding those lab reports are important too, because you want to make sure that you're actually getting a product that is tied to a lab report for that particular batch, instead of just a company that's throwing up a lab report from 6 months ago and what you're buying, is a completely different product from whatever that lab report is tied to. So all of those things, like I said, can be very confusing, and you want a company that's going to be honest with you about that and very transparent about what they're doing. We also work very closely with the FDA in saying that the FDA just wants to make sure, as any other product that's out there, that it's safe for the general public. And because this was such a, it was just a huge boom onto the market, there is a lot of stuff out there that doesn't need to be on the market. Again, we haven't really seen anything where it's hurt people, but people need to know what they're buying, what they're getting is actually of quality.
Yeah, because that was one of the questions that was posed here was because there are so many products out there, like what would you be looking for that would signify that it's more of a quality product?
Absolutely. And again, that's understanding and reading those lab reports. So if you can go in and talk to a professional that can sit down and show you, like, for example, on ours, we have the QR codes, which is pretty standard now with the FDA. They want these QR codes on here. And I hope that you can see this, but you also want to be able to see the batch number, the lot number, and the expiration date, because that's what's going to tie it to that specific lab report. And it's going to tell you the cannabinoid count, the milligrams, the other minor cannabinoids that are in there, if they're testing for metals, what the THC levels are, if there are any in there or not. Now, I am seeing a question on here. Is that okay if I just go ahead and respond to that? So CBD is not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. So the question is, how do I know how many milligrams of CBD to take for an adult for sleep, anxiety, and inflammation? Most adults, this is a general average, need between 20 and 50 milligrams of a CBD product in their system every day. And that can vary. There's a lot of variables there for, a person's weight, what they're dealing with, if they're taking a broad spectrum or a full spectrum. So a good place to start is typically within those guidelines, 20 to 50 milligrams a day. We often recommend for people to start on the lower end and work their way up. However, a lot of people are usually like, I can't sleep, so I want to go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
So typically, we can usually point them in the right direction. Like, let's start at 33 milligrams, and you're going to take this much, and in 4 to 5 days, we're going to chat, and you're going to tell me how you're feeling, and we're going to make adjustments from there. At this point, there isn't I don't know the right way to say it, but you're not going to come in like with a prescription or anything like that. So there can be a little bit of a trial and error, but it's really because we're making sure that we're tailoring your products to what your needs are, and the best way for you to use them throughout your day and night.
Okay. Great.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I just see another question on here. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. With the lab report, I was going to say.
Yes, absolutely. So it says company lab report versus independent lab report. You always want to make sure that it is a third-party lab report. Our company as well can run our own lab reports, but that's only just in conjunction to always confirm what we're putting out there. It has to be done by a certified lab, third party. And that's again just for checks and balances.
Mm-hmm. What you said before about the dosages makes sense. In your experience, since the educational piece is really important and part of your process, do people tend to benefit by taking it ongoing, or is it more like I'm going to use the word prescriptive, but like more utilized to solve a problem short term, and then move on? Can you explain that a little bit?
Most of the time, people are going to be taking it every day, just a regular regimen, whether, just like they would one of their prescriptions or a vitamin or something like that. I often have many people that come in, they've been taking a CBD product, and you know how like things start to get better, and then you're like, I'm good, I'm sleeping, or I feel good, or my mood's better, whatever it is. And then they stop taking the product and things start to come back. Now, in some cases they don't, and that's great. It was a tool to help them move through a situation. But oftentimes we do have most of our clientele that is using it on a regular basis. And it is something that you would want to take every day, because what you're trying to do is to kind of stop that out of balance. So you're looking for it to really complete your endocannabinoid system and get that into, homeostasis. So we want to be balanced and feeling good all the time, which would mean we would be taking that regularly every day.
So if you, have a person who's interested in just exploring this education, how would you recommend they get started with you to start this process?
Absolutely. So I am going to touch a little bit on how things have changed with the pandemic. We do have storefronts. We have a little over 600 locations around the country, but here in Alexandria, you are always welcome to come in our store. You don't need an appointment. You don't need a prescription or anything like that. You can come in. We sit down, we talk with people, we let them try things here in the store, and we go over all the products and how they work. We can answer your questions, but most importantly, we want to listen to what you're dealing with as well. Now, because of the pandemic, we've also made a lot of changes where, you can message us on Instagram or Facebook, you can call us, you can FaceTime or Zoom with us. You can do curbside, we do delivery. So we try to make it as convenient as possible. We definitely do work with a lot of people who are high risk right now. So they don't want to leave their homes as much. So we try to make it as convenient as possible. I do kind of let people know, like, be prepared to have a conversation. There's a lot more about CBD and the different types of products and in the delivery methods. So have a little bit of time, be prepared to just let us know what you're working with, what you're trying to accomplish, and we can make sure that we can fully educate you and give you all your options.
And are you on premises most days?
Yeah, so I'm in and out of the store. I also have a full-time staff here who are very educated, and you can speak to any one of us. Oftentimes, I find that people know their person that they like to talk to. And I do have, like I said, other locations out of state, so I do bounce around a little bit. But if you need to talk to me directly, you can always get in touch with me. But I am oftentimes in the store ready to talk to people. But when we bring in new people into the store, they go through a full amount of training so that they know, one, how to talk to people about CBD, and also how to be able to be a good listening ear for our customers.
Yeah, and I think that's an important part, because when we were talking before, you said something that really stuck out to me, and you said, when they cry, I cry, and that you're sitting with people, and I think to be able to be an educator and a wellness provider, right, that you really need to be able to create that comfort. So it must be a really big reflection of you and the environment you create, and I'm sure with your staff. So it's good, because a lot of people are anxious, about a lot of things right now. And I know people are curious, and they're afraid to go in and ask questions. So it just sounds like you guys have really created an environment that's open for discussion.
We really do. I should have probably set in a different area. I am in the store right now, but we try to make the store as comfortable as possible. I hope this doesn't make anyone seasick as I'm moving around.
We'd love to.
But when you walk into one of our locations, you're gonna have a nice environment where you can feel comfortable. You're not walking into a head shop, and I'm not even putting anything like that down. I'm just saying, a lot of times people want to walk in and feel in a comfortable place. So we do our best to do that, because a lot of times people are dealing with things that are difficult for them, or sometimes they're just tired of feeling like no one's listening to them. But sometimes it may just be something simple. I ran a marathon and I'm sore. So all of those things really matter. And then again, like you did mention, like, if someone comes in, I try my best to be whatever they're feeling. I feel like I take that on. And some people just need someone to listen to them.
I feel like not a lot of people need people to listen to them. So, that's great. I love the approach that you have, and thank you for showing. By the way, we had not planned that you'd be showing, so that was great that you just did that.
Sorry, I hope that didn't make any.
No, it's awesome, because even your colors, you can just see these it's got a very tranquil, calm feeling. So thank you for doing that.
Well, and it really touches too, because CBD products in general, I find people either are very much embracing of it, or this can be very scary for them to start to explore. They may feel it's a little outside their comfort zone, or they don't fully understand it. And so sometimes just being able to ask the questions, or get yourself to come into a place to ask questions, can be really hard in the first place, before we're even trying to tackle anything else. So, and again, I talk to people all the time who are like, I went online, and they're just very overwhelmed, because there's so much information out there that says conflicting things. So.
I know. It was 2 shows ago. One of the psychologists was saying, we were talking, and she was like, you can go ahead and do all your internet research. She's like, but you can just give me a call, and I will tell you what you need to know way faster. And it kind of just makes sense, right? You're the educator and expert in this area, right? So make it easy, and you'll be able to facilitate and walk them through that process.
Well, and another big thing too, like, especially when you have a safe place to go, and you can trust what they have to say or the products they have, but I can talk to you all day long, but we want you to use it. You can come in here and try different things, because when you feel better, that's what we want for you. We want you to feel better. So, everyone that's in any of my locations, like, we all have our own stories. This touched us in some way, and we want to be able to bring that to other people as well.
Broad spectrum CBD.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I see a couple questions here. Can you define what broad spectrum CBD means? So yes, there's three kind of vocabulary words to keep in mind. You have isolate, you have broad spectrum, and you have full spectrum. So an isolate is just the CBD compound. It's a wonderful product, but it's the most inferior out of the three. You're only getting that one compound. So you're relying on that one thing to do a big job within your system. Now, I think isolates are great kind of as little add-ons, a little, like if you have a little isolate, edible, which the FDA is a little uncertain about right now, but they're really great for just like one-offs, in the middle of the afternoon if you just want a little extra boost, something like that. Then you have broad spectrum. That's going to be all of the cannabinoids found in the plant. It's going to be, like I mentioned before, the CBD, CBG, CBN, CBDV, all of those cannabinoids, except it goes through 2 extraction processes and removes that minor amount of THC. Some people, for personal reasons or professional reasons, choose not to have a full spectrum product, and they're more comfortable, or a broad spectrum works better for them. I'm going to get back to that in just a minute. And then you have full spectrum. That is going to contain that minor amount of THC. The federal legal limit is 0.3% in the entirety of the product. So we're talking very trace amounts. You're not getting 0.3% in your dose. That's in the entirety of your product. All of those cannabinoids working together are going to create that entourage effect. So they all aid each other into working at their best. THC is often, a lot of people with sleeping issues and pain oftentimes report they get a better benefit out of a full spectrum product. However, going back to that broad spectrum, we often recommend for people who have never tried anything before, or they know their system doesn't really work really well with THC, or if they have extremely high anxiety, oftentimes it's safer for them to try that broad spectrum first, because we don't ever want that minor amount of THC to be an agitation. We want it to be an aid, not an agitation.
Right. And I shared with you that one of the biggest reasons people hesitate, at least from what I hear on my end, is fear of it showing up on a drug test, because, of course, we have so many government workers and people with clearance. And so.
Yes, so that is, I wish I had a really straightforward answer for you. And unfortunately, I don't. There's a lot of variables to determine if a full spectrum or even a broad spectrum is going to show up in a drug test. That could have to do on the person. It could have to do on their metabolism, what type of product they're taking, how often, milligrams. And then it could also depend on the type of drug test that's being taken too. There's some that are out there specifically looking for a certain type of narcotic or whatever. So they're not looking for that type of compound. Now, you hear a lot, or you used to back in the early days, about like the field tests and things like that. Those type of tests, they're just looking for anything, any type of plant matter. So in something like that, yes, CBD is going to show up. So I often tell people, if this has to do with your livelihood, it's better to be safe than sorry. Talking to your HR department to make sure it's okay is something that we have people do at times. And then again, if it's really just that full spectrum that your HR department's scared of, oftentimes I have a lot of customers that they feel good and fine with the broad spectrum. But it's really hard to answer that question because there's just too many variables to give like a straight yes or no.
Okay. So I'm going to throw out a trivia question for some, and this is a yes or no, so whoever answers it first will win, and Shells will tell you whether you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
Can CBD oil be used on animals? Yes or no? This is for a free giveaway. Do not be shy.
Maybe talk in the meantime while we're waiting.
Oh, so we should keep on talking.
Okay.
So.
Well, actually, it's a great point. So, I hate to give
Someone has said yes. Marilyn has said yes. Is that accurate, Shells?
Marilyn, great job. Yes, you can definitely use CBD products with pets. What I do want to emphasize here, we recommend using a broad spectrum only with pets. Right now, the National Veterinarian Association says that THC is not good for pets. So we only make broad spectrum pet products. There are full spectrum pet products on the market, but that is something that I definitely would run by your veterinarian before I gave my pet a full spectrum. Again, most likely, I don't think it's anything that would like truly hurt your pet, but the figures at B say no THC, so we only make broad spectrum.
Well, you might be booming in business in a little bit in regards to animals because, what's been reported, and I noticed my sister-in-law has been having a lot of issues with her dog separating from her. And when she called the dog trainer, Holistic Hound, Sandy Modell in town, she was like, we're booked out for months because pets are not used to having their families on all the time. So as people are re-entering also work, which hasn't really happened, but as they start going back to work and things, pets may be anxious. So it's something to start thinking ahead as, if that is a potential issue,
It most definitely is. I actually have one myself that I feel like I have a newborn again because she's a 2-year-old husky and she literally like goes everywhere with me. I'm surprised her face isn't right here in the show tonight.
I love that.
But there's different delivery methods with pets. You could do treats, you can do oils. We have nose and paw balm as well. We typically recommend for people to stick specifically with the pet products, but there are some of the people products that, we'll say, if you have a very, very large pet, I do work with some people with horses or Great Danes, things like that. So as long as you're going with a natural, no flavoring, human pet product that's broad spectrum for a very, very large pet, that's typically okay. But we do formulate specifically for pets. And the weight is very important with pets. Again, you're not going to hurt your pet, but you don't want to make them super lethargic where they're just laying around and sleeping either, unless that's what you want, I guess.
Right. Stephanie, who is tuning in, Stephanie works with me. I believe she has a very active animal too. She says, do you carry some in the store?
Absolutely. So we carry USDA certified organic pet products. Our oils come in bacon and peanut butter and natural, and it's very easy. You just put it on the pet's food. We get rave reviews from our pet owners. And then we also have treats. So they come in bacon strips, jerky strips, and little steak bites, which my husky loves, and can dig those suckers out of everywhere. I pretty much have to put them under lock and key so she can't get to them. And then we have cat treats as well. Those are mainly the types of pets that we work with, although there are other animals out there with endocannabinoid systems, but I've never had a person come in for their fish, so.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
All right, we'll throw out one more trivia question before we start to wrap up. There's some research that shows that there are some benefits for protecting against neurodegenerative disorders. Does anyone know what disorders have been found to benefit from CBD oil? Go ahead and have you comment in a second. So we'll wait.
While we're chatting, I did kind of want to say Is it okay if I kind of tell how I found my way to CBD?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask this question because I think that would be a great way for you to tell us what inspired you to move into this.
Absolutely. So I don't want to give anything away on the trivia question, but just a little background on me. My background is actually in corporate events, and I see an answer up there. And I found myself not being able to take medications for stress and anxiety. And I worked nonstop and lived in an area that was like never slept. And through a close personal family friend who was more like a grandparent in our family, came across CBD and then realized the benefits that it could have for my own issues. And it was really life-changing for me. Now, I am not one, I very much believe that the FDA does need to have regulations, and I am not going to make claims to anybody, but in my own experience, it made a world of difference, and I've seen that with a lot of people that I worked with. But again, I always encourage people, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and work with your doctor, but I think if people are looking for something, it's a wonderful place to at least explore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thank you for sharing that. So we had first answers is autism, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's.
Yes.
Are any of those accurate?
So again, I don't want to upset the FDA or anything, but we do talk to a lot of people with those stories. And there is a ton of research. I hope in the near future, that we will be able to report on things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We have a lot of clients that use them for Alzheimer's and autism especially. And I really do feel, in the research supports it, that I think that we've got some exciting things in the pipeline for the next decade. I think the face of plant science hopefully can change for a lot of people.
Okay, and MS. So basically all four of them are accurate, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Everyone is one to give away now.
I like it.
Sponsored by. Yeah, thank you guys for participating. It's been really great audience interaction tonight and questions. So, and we really appreciate you, Shells, giving us a really good introduction and very broad explanation also of everything. So I feel like, I'm coming into your store when I can, or with a mask, and I want to learn more, and I hope that other people are going to do as well. So since we are in the holiday season, do you want to tell people about your promos and where to find you on Instagram, Facebook? Mm-hmm.
Yes. So first, let me say, if anyone does have any questions, we are always happy to answer questions. If you are uncertain about something, please find someone. If it's us, we will try to help you find the right answers that you need. So I do want to make sure that I say that. But also, with the holiday seasons coming up, we do have our 12 Days of Giving that's going to start on December 6th. So each day we'll have a new bundle that you can get at a discounted or a special rate. I find at the holiday season, I didn't really think about this in the beginning, but how many stocking stuffers. I actually get a lot of people that buy a stocking stuffer.
I was going to say, everyone's getting.
Yeah, it always cracks me up when people come in to buy something for their boss. I'm like, what does that say?
Yeah.
We have the 12 Days of Giving coming up. It's a great time to especially explore and try new products. CBD products, especially very organic, high quality products, are not going to break the bank, but they're also not going to be $20. So I try to just say that to prepare people, because I don't want you ingesting something in your system that is truly not something that you need to be taking. But also we can usually find something for everybody. But yeah, please look us up on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, we're Your CBD Alexandria Official, and on Facebook, Your CBD Store Alexandria. We try to put a lot of educational content on there. And again, you can always reach out to us on social media as well if you have questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I look forward to talking with you more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Shells. All righty. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in again tonight. Hopefully there was some useful information for you. And please do share. I know there's others who are also very curious about this. And many people, again, who are suffering and experiencing a lot of anxiety. So what I'd like to tell you is just two end things. One, we have a show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. hosted by Gina Cavallari, and she is hosting Anita Carson from the TWIG, which is the volunteer and support arm of the Nova Alexandria Hospital, and they'll be discussing their fundraiser, which is Together We Ignite Giving. Sounds very interesting. Also, too, to remember to tune in again in 2 weeks. On the 16th, I will have my business partner, Dr. Eleni Busalis, on talking about her podcast, which she just released, and that's called Why Does This Keep Happening to Me? Because, shocker, we all tend to repeat patterns over and over until we figure out how to get out of them, and sometimes they are unhelpful. But we'll also be addressing, the two of us, about ways to mindfully move through this month, to enjoy your holidays, and to keep stress at a low. So thank you, and remember, as always, be kind, and remember to be the